Hi, I'm Ben, and today I'm going to talk to you about why it's really important for you to take part in the Duke of Edinburgh's award. Did you know that in your year group, across the whole of the UK, there are close to 700,000 young people your age? Now, in a few years, you're going to be applying for jobs or apprenticeships or college or even university, and you're going to be in this big competition. And what DofE is going to do is that's going to help you stand out from everybody else. Someone's going to ask you, can you give me an example of a time you've worked with other people or you've shown leadership? And this experience is going to give you not only those examples, but some great stories to go with it. Now, everyone thinks DofE is all about being on an expedition with a big rucksack walking across the hills. However, I'm going to tell you what else you need to do to get your DofE. There is the volunteering, the skill, and the physical. And this is the same for bronze, silver, and gold. With gold, there is one additional section called the residential, which we'll talk about another time. For now, we're going to talk about the volunteering, the physical, and the skill. Now, volunteering is giving up your time for the good of somebody else. You could help a younger person learn a musical instrument, or you could help out with some sports coaching, or something in your own time where you're going to help somebody else. The physical is doing something that is going to raise your heart rate. Now, if you already are part of a sports team, you're already doing this, so there's no problem there. You're going to be just carrying on doing that and logging what you're doing. If you don't play as part of a sports team, or you don't play a sport like tennis or running, then you need to start doing something. That might mean going for a cycle ride once a week, or just a brisk walk. And you could even download the Strava app and screenshot what you've done to prove that you've done it. Now, the skill section sometimes can be a little bit harder to think about what you're going to do. So a skill is something that isn't necessarily going to raise your heart rate, but it is something you can get better at. An easy one would be a musical instrument, or you might want to learn BSL or an additional language on one of these language apps. You must distinguish between a sport and a skill. So I know that doing keepy ups as a footballer is very skillful, but it cannot class as a skill for your DofE. However, the only part of a sport that could class as your skill is learning to do some officiating, like refereeing or umpiring. So you must do all of these three things. You don't have to do them all at the same time. And at bronze level, as you will see, you must do 2 of them for 3 months and 1 of them for 6 months. You can choose which at bronze level you do for your 6 months, and I always recommend that you do whichever one you're already doing, or whichever one you're going to enjoy the most. At silver level, there are different durations, and as you'll see, if you haven't done bronze, silver takes you even longer to complete. With gold, these durations of these sections are even longer. What's important is that you do these about an hour a week for however long you're doing that section for. Now, if you miss one because you're ill, I don't think anyone's going to mind that, but if perhaps you're missing 2 or 3 weeks because maybe it's the holidays, you're going to need to add that on to the end. You do not have to do this in school. You could do it in school, you could do it before school, lunchtime or after school, but a lot of this you can do at home in your own time. Some important rules. Walking to school is not a physical, and you cannot do any of this in your curriculum time. So if you're using a language, it must be an additional language to what you're doing in school time. You'll be given an eDofE number, which is 5 or 6 digits long, and you'll be able to download an app and submit what you're doing every couple of weeks to make sure you've got the evidence to show that you've done it. At the end of that period, you must have an independent assessor who is willing to write a paragraph for you that says this person has completed this and shown that they've improved, and they've written down with some integrity what they've done. That person must be over the age of 18 and not live in your household. Now, the next part is the expedition, and that is the bit that we at BXM all love. Here, if you're doing bronze, these are going to be 2 days and 1 night. If you're doing silver, it's going to be 3 days and 2 nights. And at gold level, you're going to go away to the mountainous terrain, so maybe North Wales or the Lake District, and you're going to be there for 5 days and 4 nights. Not only are you going to be there for that time, you have to do it twice. So the first one is going to be your training expedition, and your second one is going to be the assessment expedition. That is the same at bronze, silver and gold. You're going to learn map reading, you're going to learn resilience, you're going to work with some really exciting instructors who are going to help you learn about the outdoors. You're going to be cooking your own food, you're going to be carrying everything you need. You are also going to be camping in a tent with your friends. You're not going to be with adults all the time, so you'll be with your group showing everybody that you can work as a team, that you can take responsibility, that you can be mature, and that you can stay resilient even when it becomes quite hard. The best step you can do is to do bronze with your friends. Lots of people go on the expedition. We work with about 10,000 people doing this every single year, so we know how great this is. So just to summarise, DofE is about challenging yourself, about having fun with your friends, about showing what you're capable of, and more importantly, it's about standing out from the crowd. This is going to be a really exciting and good learning time for you. So if you do want to build those skills and confidence and learn something new and just have those amazing stories to tell, make sure you sign up for DofE.